What's going on? It's another episode of MMA Hype Watch, and today we're just going to have to talk about Donald Cerrone at UFC 246 in his fight with Conor McGregor. We're not going to talk about analysis. We're not going to talk about a breakdown. We're not going to talk about any strikes thrown or any magical stuff or whatever that people believe Conor McGregor did in that fight. We're going to flat out talk about Donald Cerrone, the UFC, and what fans believe to be a fixed fight. I love a good MMA conspiracy. I really do. I'm not going to lie. I really do. I like hearing, all the thoughts. I like hearing all the different, theories. But I'm going to be super duper honest about this. Even if there was a fix in that UFC 246 fight with Donald Cerrone, guess what? No MMA fans are going to be able to prove it. No matter how many angles of videos that they post on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever. You're not going to be able to prove it. Even though, for someone like Donald Cerrone, that was definitely not a stellar fight for him. Even though fans are going to say Donald Cerrone chokes in the big time fights, and this is possibly one of the biggest time fights that he has ever fought in. And the bigger the fight, the bigger the choke, is what MMA fans are going to say. I'm never going to doubt Donald Cerrone. He's been a fighter through and through, forever. Never going to doubt the guy. But this is probably one of his worst showings, and if fans are saying that the bigger the fight, the bigger the choke, this would be a very reasonable comparison. I'm not going to come out and say that the UFC has a fix, but I will say this. If the UFC did have a fix in with Donald Cerrone, MMA fans are not going to be able to prove it. And even if there was a slight hint that the UFC and Donald Cerrone and Conor McGregor all sat down, had a talk, fixed this fight so Conor McGregor could come back, look amazing, get his 3 fights in, and bring in a stellar, profitable year for the UFC, guess what? MMA fans still would not be able to prove it. So this is just one of those things where I'm going to have to say that fans honestly need to just leave this one alone and just let it be and just take the fight for what it is. The UFC has been doing completely crazy stuff over the last couple of years, and sometimes it's just best to just let it fly and let it go, because the UFC is going to do what the UFC wants to do, whether it's make mismatch fights, whether it's put fighters in front of other fighters for championship shots, whatever. And truth be told, even if they all sat down and had a talk and decided to fix this fight and try to, make Conor McGregor look good, I think we're just going to have to accept the fact that if Donald Cerrone got paid, even with all of his former fight bonuses, everything that he's been paid over his multitude of fights and everything, if he got paid for this fight, let him get paid. Even though fans might not be able to prove it, if there was a fix, which I'm not saying that there is, let Donald Cerrone get paid and let his record speak for itself. Fans are always going to look at his record, and they're going to always say what they have to say about his record. Yes, Donald Cerrone has a multitude of fights, but it's if you look at this period of time, he's on a 3-fight skid, and Donald Cerrone is a legendary fighter, but he's still a legendary fighter on a 3-fight skid. How is the UFC going to treat him when he hits that 4-fight skid, when he hits that 5-fight skid? That's what it really comes down to in terms of being a company man like Donald Cerrone, is if it was fixed, but it all comes down to the relationship that him and the UFC, possibly even Dana White, have when things take a turn for him. And in this instance, even if Donald Cerrone is not going to ever be a UFC champion, we fans have to put our thoughts aside sometimes and think about this in the bigger picture. Will this get every other UFC fighter paid? If Donald Cerrone got paid, then I'm going to have to say kudos to him. Is the UFC losing a little bit of its legitimacy? Yes, it is. But they're making a ton of profit off of it. Regardless of what we say, let's see how far it flies. Let these fighters get paid. Let other fighters come up and get paid. When it's time for the UFC to go, based on whether they are not being legit or whether they are busted for fight fixing or whatnot, it will be time to let the UFC go. But still, it would be great if these fighters got paid in between now and then. I hate to be the one to say it, but I see people fighting in forums, I see people fighting in chat rooms, I see people fighting in groups, I see people fighting in comment sections, and everybody's tossing around these theories, everybody's tossing around, like these weird, analytical clips and videos, and nothing is going to come of it. There, I said it. Like I said, we here at MMA Hype Watch are not censored. The only people that we are censored by is YouTube, meaning that we can't curse and say all the crazy curse words and everything that we want to say, but one day. So we can say things like this. And I'm saying that it's time to let it go. Let these fighters get paid. Let Donald Cerrone get paid. Appreciate him as a fighter and let him be on his way wherever he decides to go from here. This is G here at MMA Hype Watch. If you disagree or agree, let me know. Hit the comment section below. Come and follow us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. Also do the same thing on Instagram. It's MMA Hype News. Hit the notification button. We're going to keep bringing you more MMA content. We appreciate you fans. Thank you so much. But until the next time, we are out.